So unless you're living under a rock, you should know that there is a term that has been going around like crazy lately, and although it's not a new term, but everyone suddenly decided to use it, which is the term performative. And when you think of the word performative, you're probably gonna think of someone who dresses in a certain way, or talks in a certain way, or listen to a certain music, or have some political beliefs, for example, and it's all for one reason, which is grabbing attention or attention seeking or trying to fit in. And honestly, I just kind of get mad when I see people judging other people and calling them performative, when I can swear on my 10 fingers that the person who accuses other people of being performative are doing at least one or two performative acts in their lives. You know why? Because I believe that each and every human being have to be kind of performative in their own way in order to survive in a society. Now, let me give you an example about this. For example, you're never gonna hang out in a public space wearing a helmet and a spacesuit just because you think that it's funny or it's a new style to show other people. Like, the only time where you might actually be wearing this is if you're trying to be edgy or funny, or trying to make a funny video, for example, which is again kind of performative. Now, what I need you to understand is that it's okay if you are a bit performative, if you're doing anything to try to fit in, because that's literally a part of our surviving skills. Now, let me explain this in a more scientific way. So we all have an organ in our head called the brain. The brain have a loop called the prefrontal loop. This loop is, or this part of the brain is basically responsible of emotional intelligence, decision making, problem solving. Now we also have something called the rewarding system, and one of the acts that our brain can treat as a reward is being socially accepted by other people. Now, going back to the prefrontal cortex, one of the main forms of emotional intelligence is to understand the way other people think and getting their behaviors, and then you will catch yourself subconsciously mimicking them. So you catch yourself mimicking their moves, the way they talk, the way they act, and this is something that we all had since childhood. I mean, we all learned how to talk by mimicking the way our parents did. And this is something that used to be so evolutionary important back then, when we used to live in like different small groups, which kind of makes sense because imagine you live alone by yourself in the wild, you're probably gonna be eaten by 10 seconds. So we all needed each other in order to protect each other. And of course, there are some requirements that you need to have in order to be accepted in these groups. And the most important rule is they need to feel kind of familiar to you. They need to relate to you. Other than that, they're gonna see you as a threat. So you need to not only look like them, you need to act like them, mimic their moves and their culture, or other than that, you're just gonna die alone. And now, in 2026, although that skill is not as important as it used to be, because the only requirement that we all need to have in order to survive is making money, but we still kind of have it. It's a part of us, it's a part of who we are. You will catch us doing it all the time. In fact, some people will live their whole life just asking for validation from other people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is necessarily a good thing. In fact, I guess that it is a bad thing if someone made their whole identity about seeking validation from other people by being performative. But I just find it funny that there are some people out there, they would judge other people and calling them performative for doing something that we all low-key do. So yeah, it was just a thought that I wanted to share with you guys. I want to know what you all think about this.